Your OC and Jayden Daniels, their first-year quarterback, are heading to the playoffs. I might take a 20, make it a full. Tim Hasselbeck alongside. This is a remarkable game in so many different levels. Penix makes some plays we'll get to in a moment, but Washington winning in the manner in which they did, given all the firsts that I just mentioned, coach, coordinator, quarterback, etc. What's this win say about where they are right now as they look to become what they once were?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it says is that they're a really dangerous team because of their quarterback. You know, a week ago, as we're watching the games, where for him, it seems like everything's slowing down.
The off-schedule plays that he makes, I think you can game plan for plenty.
Yep.
But his ability in the third and shorts, the fourth and shorts to use legs and then perhaps get to a pass, but maybe just use the legs, how does that make him in some ways really impossible to game plan for?
Well, if you look at some of the stuff that they did, really, I guess it would have been, in the fourth quarter, like they started running him, designed runs.
Right.
And like, so there was some of that. Yeah. And so, some of the things that we see Buffalo do with Josh Allen, some of the things you see.
And Dan Quinn's going to join us here at some point on the program. Before we move on, and our window shrinks, so we don't have as much room as we might have otherwise. Penix didn't have the football much in the second half. Washington had that long drive. It went 3 and out. They went on another long drive. But then when the game was there to be tied, he made the plays and the throws. What does he show you in this game?
Here's what I would say about him. I thought there were a few throws that he missed tonight that would have been game-altering plays. The double move to Bijan, he missed. A corner before the half to Drake London that he missed. Another corner late in the game that I thought that he missed before the fourth down that he hit.
He misses London on third down right before the other throw.
Exactly right. And so I think like those things happen, and those things can kind of bury you mentally as a quarterback. It didn't do that for him, and especially when you're not getting the ball. But they needed to make this move because you can see that he needs to be out there. He's ready for some of these moments.
Why they didn't use timeouts with 30-some-odd seconds left?
In the highlight. That's an insane one because you have a chance even just to make the field goal shorter.
For a kicker who does not have acceptance.
That really you can say cost you a chance to maybe win the football game.
I'll paraphrase our buddy Bill Barnwell, who tweeted, and I would agree with this. There are a million different things that none of us could do that we don't have the slightest inkling about to be a head coach in the National Football League. Calling timeouts, I think, falls under the umbrella of what most of us could figure out and how and it's not just Raheem Morris. It's around the league. But in this case, I just think you had to use timeouts, and they didn't.
We did, and honestly, we're sitting there saying, everyone's saying it, like if it's not Raheem, it's somebody on his staff that has been given that responsibility to manage the game that way.
Right, you just get somebody up there screaming, call timeout. They didn't. Jayden Daniels in Washington wins in overtime. Here's the Washington rookie quarterback.
My emotion, I'm tired right now, but I'm excited. I'm happy. The fan base waited a long time for this. I really can't put into words, how much it means to them, how much it means to me. Be able to go out there and lead this franchise and this team to opportunities like that.
You obviously had some success in the 2-minute drill. The overtime was a little bit different. What was that like, just before the overtime? What's going through your mind, and what was it like in that drive?
God blessed me again, gave me the opportunity to go out there and try to win a football game, just like he did last week. It's a lot of ups and downs and adversity in this game that you go through and you go through in life. So you never waver. You stand tall, stand 10 feet down, and, can go out there and try to.
And that first down, which allows this game to be put on ice. Minnesota has won again. That sets up a showdown with the Lions next week for the 1 seed in the NFC. 35 touchdown passes for Darnold this year. 3 in this one. He's 2 shy of tying Peyton Manning for the 3rd most TD passes by any quarterback in his first season with the franchise. Top 2 on the list, Stafford in 2021, Brady in 2020. Both went on to win the Super Bowl that season. Now, Darnold's a 1-year contract. Wonder what they're going to do with it. You take a look at this and tell me what you think they're going to do.
Went 33 and 43 for 377 and 3 touchdowns. I'm not done. Just set the team record for most passing touchdowns in his first season with 35. Just set his career highs for passing yards and completions in a game when we had to have it. And most importantly, team record for most wins as a starting quarterback, 14.
Tim is back. You've got a tape. I want to ask you to hold that for just a minute. You've been in these locker rooms. Reactions like that tell you what about the kind of buy-in the teammates have for that guy?
They love him, and it sounds like the coach loves him too. When you look at that celebration, this sticks out to me. It's not just one side of the ball celebrating with him. Like, it's everybody. And it is hard in pro football to be a guy that's a leader on both sides of the ball. Like, that's not normal. Like, that reaction is not that doesn't typically happen. I guarantee you there's an appreciation for what he's endured through his career. Listen, he was a first-round bust that had bounced around, that has now got these guys on the verge of maybe being the 1 seed. And, like, I guarantee you the locker room knows that, appreciates that, and the celebration shows that.
And I think we all understand that business is business, and if you're him, you have to explore and see what's out there. But if you're Minnesota, I get that you take a quarterback in the first round. So what? You're trying to find a guy that can galvanize a locker room. I don't know how you possibly let that guy go anywhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, like to me, the decision's made, from the standpoint of, I agree with you. I don't know that that's what they'll do, but you have a guy that can play, and then you have a guy that's loved by his teammates. That's what everyone's looking for in the draft.
Everyone in the NFL is looking for a guy that gives you a chance, and he's done more than just give him a chance, and they gave him a chance today with some great protection up front. What do you want to show us?
I mean, and that's the key. We've hit on a bunch of different things with Minnesota, rightfully so, all year long. But I think the guys up front have done a tremendous job. And what's important is that stuff bodes well. When you look at teams that have a chance in the postseason, think about Green Bay. Green Bay has been good on defense. They've pressured the quarterback. Well, they really didn't today against this Minnesota front.
And so it sets up what we thought was a possibility, and now it's a reality. The last game of the NFL regular season will be in Detroit, and it will be the Lions and the Vikings, and it will be for the 1 seed. I don't know. The people had Detroit, sure. Did you have Minnesota with Sam Darnold slotted to be in this spot? Not many.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm not going to downplay it, but like I said, at the end of the day, you're not going to get remembered for being the 2024 NFC East division champs. I'm happy. It's my first hat and T-shirt game. I didn't even know it was a thing, to be honest. So I'm happy to be part of that, and we did it as a team, but we all know what the goal is.
It's special. It's special, man. I sit out there on the field. I'm sure there's a kid dreaming about playing for the Eagles and, doing things that, we went out there and did today. So, it's incredibly special. I had a lot of family here. My dad especially, he's the one who took me to all the games, and we have great memories together, watching McNabb and Westbrook, back when I was really young. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, it feels good. It feels good. Kind of normal at this point, honestly. We expect more, it's low-hanging fruit.
Pickett said McNabb and Westbrook when I was really young. Buddy, I watched Roman Gabriel. The Eagles' division title continues a streak of 20 straight seasons without a repeat champ in the NFC East. It's the best division in football historically. Everybody's won a Super Bowl minimum. Phillies won 13 games in a season for the 4th time in team history. Each of the previous 3, they made it to the Super Bowl. That's why my Eagle fans are asking, should they book the trip to?
Played a heck of a ball game intelligently. We didn't turn it over offensively. We were very good on 3rd down, and he controlled the ball, got it, spread it around, got everybody touches, and he played a good ball game.
I mean, it was about starting fast, and it was sloppy ball on the offensive side of the things in Carolina. So we wanted to make sure we corrected that, and I thought our guys did just that. Just a few hiccups here and there. We'll look back on the tape and figure that out. But for the most part, everybody was dialed in.
When you lose games, it shifts your focus back to what it should be, and that's being very detailed, very physical. We came out here very angry, I felt like, today, and that's what it's going to take.
100th season as an NFL franchise. Locke, only the 3rd player with those numbers, 4 through the air and 1 on the ground in team history. The first man to do it, Charlie Connerly in 1948. I don't know anything about Charlie. You don't know if that's him. It could just be a picture of some guy you don't know.
Charlie.
Is that Charlie? Steve says it's Charlie.
Charlie.
The other was Eli. Eli you're probably more familiar with. He did it at Washington. Okay. 8th time that the Bills had multiple passing and rushing touchdowns in a game this season, which is the most in NFL history. Josh Allen shared his thoughts about clinching the Oh, actually, he was happy that they're the 2 seed. That's no toss. Bad anchoring from Scott. All right. As for this race for MVP, Tim is back. Now we're going to say it's a 2-horse race. Not really. I think Joe Burrow should absolutely be in this conversation. He's incredible. I think Saquon should be in the conversation. He's incredible. But in terms of the odds and the odds-on, these are the 2 shortest odds. And in terms of the conversation you hear most places, it tends to be Allen or Jackson. When you break this down and you assess it, and then you look at that, what happens when you look at those numbers?
Yeah, I think when I look at those numbers, the major categories in the numbers really favor Lamar. And they do. And so I think that, if you're going to say
history to get to 2,000 yards, how much, in your estimation, is the fact that Baltimore's got some kind of gross losses, right? They lost to teams that aren't great. Mm-hmm. Like Cleveland's not great. The Raiders aren't great. The Lions and the Chiefs have 3 losses total. Josh Allen quarterbacked the team that gave him 2 of them. Yeah. How much should that weight the scales that he beat the best teams in the NFL?
Yeah, I think, listen, that's the discussion of like, okay, so quarterback, wins and losses is that. What was the case, when they left the field? Like you have to, kind of look at that scenario. I think also this, I think when people look at Baltimore, they look at that team around him. You add Derrick Henry, you've got the development of Zay Flowers, and you've got a bunch of good tight ends, and you have all of that. I think people look at Buffalo and say, listen, Mac Hollins, this is the best he's ever played, and it's because of Josh Allen. Khalil Shakir, this is the best he's ever played, it's because of Josh Allen. I think that, more so than anything, of wins and losses is, okay, the supporting cast seems to maybe be playing better. That, to me, is an argument for Josh Allen.
If Allen wins, just put on the tape of what he did at the end of the Kansas City game when they run that 4th and 1. The play, you showed it. Kansas City had the perfect defense call, and it didn't matter because that guy decided I'm scoring, and he did. And go what he did in Detroit, where it was like, we got one stop, and that's ball game because you're not stopping me. I think the numbers for Jackson I clearly look better. The record for Allen against the best teams, and so I think to me that's what it comes down to. What do you weight more?
Yeah, it certainly does, and I think the fact that there are 4 guys in the conversation is a big deal.
All right, so Aaron Rodgers clearly is not an MVP this year, but he has been 4 times in his life. He was asked about finishing this game on the bench.
It was 33-0. We were sitting there, and I said at some point, probably go to Tyrod here, huh? And then the next play, they threw a screen for a touchdown, so it's 40-0.
What does the future hold for Aaron Rodgers?
I'm going to enjoy next week and then take some mental and physical rest.
You're not the most sacked quarterback.
Yeah. Got Tom in that.
I think back to being in the stadium 2 years ago. It's 9/11. He comes out of the tunnel with a flag, and everyone is thinking, what's this going to be? He gets hurt, obviously, comes back this year, and they're a 4-12 team. I'm not asking you to know what he would do. You couldn't possibly. I'm asking if you think this guy keeps playing football after
new coach in New York. Does he want to have to deal with that? And the thing, look, I think Aaron Rodgers cares about football, but I do think just even in that sound, right? It's a different year for him. It didn't go well. Not everyone has achieved the stuff that he's achieved. Not everyone, I think, can have the, handle post-game stuff the way that he's handling it right now because they haven't had that experience. There's other younger, impressionable guys on the team that I just think the care factor just doesn't seem to feel the same. The loss doesn't hurt as much as it probably should hurt and should hurt for everyone. You get your doors blown off and it's 40-0 at one point. that should bother everybody. It shouldn't really be hey, don't you think we should put the other guy in? It just doesn't feel right.
It's tricky, though, man, because you've got, whether it's true or not, but there's questions about young stars in New York. Do they want to be here if he's still going to be here? And everyone wants to get the dismount right, as my friend Mike Tirico says, and I think brilliantly. It's really hard to write that perfect ending. It's really hard to stick the landing and say, I'll see you later. So, I don't know. You got to have a team that wants you to play.
Yep.
And